everyone, and welcome to another Ask the Experts episode. I'm Chelsey. With me today is Ellie Herman. Together, Ellie and I make up the advocacy team here at the foundation, and today Ellie is going to interview me all about plasma. So Ellie, why don't you take it away with the questions?
All right, let's get started. So to start off, Chelsey, what is plasma and why should the community know about it?
Yep, good place to start. What is plasma? So to the GBS-CIDP and MMN community, patients typically use immunoglobulin. That's either in the form of IVIG, sometimes it's subcutaneous IG. And then for GBS patients, that's IVIG that's usually given in the hospital. Again, that's the immunoglobulin. And CIDP and MMN patients take that IVIG or that sub-Q IG regularly. So that medicine, the IG, is what we call a biologic. And that's just a fancy way of saying that it's made from plasma that people donate. Plasma is, at its core, a component of blood. So our blood is made up of a bunch of components. It's not just the red liquid. It's made of plasma, red blood cells, and some white blood cells. And the plasma that gets donated is made mostly of water, some proteins, and when it's donated, it actually has a yellowish color because of those proteins. The proteins that are in that plasma are typically immunoglobulins, clotting factors, some other things. And those things, those immunoglobulins, clotting factor, and the other, are the key to making immunoglobulin and other types of medicines like that. So I think it's important that we always know where medicine comes from when we take it, and we have a good understanding of where it comes from. The plasma industry is highly regulated to ensure the safety of everyone involved, and for that, we're very grateful. It's a complex process to go from a person donating their plasma to a person infusing their IVIG or their sub-Q IG to feel better, and there are a lot of steps, so the regulatory process helps keep everybody safe. The other reason I think it's important for people to know about plasma is that it is technically a finite resource. There are only so many people in the world who donate plasma, so we rely on those everyday heroes who donate their plasma to make sure there is always enough medicine. The first step in honoring those everyday heroes and inspiring more is awareness and acknowledgement of how great of a thing it is to do. So that is one of the reasons we really wanted to come and talk about plasma today.
Great. So how does plasma actually boost the immune system, and how does it work and make living with CIDP either easier or better?
That's a great question that we hear all the time. So to try to figure this out, we did some research on our end, and in 2015, we found an article in the Journal of Neuroinflammation that tackled this question. But it also acknowledged that we're not totally sure why it works. But the article outlined that IVIG has a impact on the immune system in a lot of complicated ways that I don't know that I could respond without an MD, or I could describe without an MD or PhD. Basically, IVIG can help turn off certain parts of the immune system or turn on other parts. And we know that the immune system is going awry in CIDP. So most medicines that are used to treat it, steroids are sometimes also used to treat CIDP and MMN. Those are doing something to the immune system, trying to suppress it a bit. So it's safe to assume that IVIG is doing something in the immune system as well. Additionally, IVIG, we talked about, is made from plasma, which has a lot of proteins that are antibodies. And it's that influx of antibodies from that IG that helps to neutralize maybe the antibodies that are doing something wrong in the person's body and might be causing the CIDP. So that influx of it, sometimes we say dilution is the solution. We're just getting a whole bunch of good IG antibodies, and it seems to help CIDP symptoms. Again, this is mostly a theoretical description from what doctors know from their lab research, and I based my answer to this question on a 2015 article from Journal of Neuroinflammation that described it. So I hope that wasn't too confusing.
No, very interesting. And for the next question, what is the process of donating plasma like?
Yeah. So I mentioned before that the industry is highly regulated. So what that means for the donors is that there is a good bit of safety screening that has to be done. And those screenings protect both the health of the person who is donating, make sure that you're healthy enough to feel good physically after the process of donating, and that your body can easily regenerate the plasma or the things that you're missing. But it also protects the person who eventually takes the medicine made from the plasma. So this is a good time to mention that when we talk about plasma for GBS-CIDP and MMN, we refer to source plasma, which means the volunteer, the person who is donating, is generally healthy. Sometimes for other conditions, people donate what is called convalescent plasma. That's plasma that comes from a person who specifically recovered from a disease or condition recently. The idea there is that the immune system proteins that helped that person recover from the disease are within the plasma and can help others with that specific disease. And Ebola is one example where convalescent plasma is sometimes used. So again, for our purposes, we're referring to people who are donating source plasma. And they do that health screening that I mentioned, and then they start the actual donation process. Somebody who is donating is connected to a machine with a needle insertion into, I think it's their arm. And then the machine pulls the blood out, separates the plasma from the other stuff in the blood. Remember that plasma has that yellowish color, and then the other pieces of the blood are put back into the person. So it can take a while, maybe an hour or 2 hours to get all of the plasma. And the whole time, donors are monitored by professionals who do this all day, every day, making sure everybody feels good. The process, as I understand it, is not painful. People recommend hydrating a lot before they donate to feel better. So full disclosure, I have not donated. I know many people who have. Ellie and I also, with some of the staff from the foundation, recently toured a donor center where we got to learn firsthand all about this. The last thing I want to mention is that in the US, people who donate their plasma can be compensated for the time they spend donating because it is a commitment within your day. You know, it can take a long time in that chair, and it is a great thing to do, and you can be compensated.
Great. So why do we need to raise awareness of plasma?
Yeah, great question. Of course, we're on a roll with good questions. As I mentioned before, there is theoretically a finite amount of plasma because there are only so many people who donate their plasma, and the past few years have been a little rough on that process. Stay-at-home orders, the general routine disruption caused a steep drop in the number of plasma donations for a while. So we raise awareness of plasma and the amazing medicine made from plasma to help people understand the incredible gift that it is and inspire more people to become everyday heroes who donate. The more people who donate, the more confident we are that there will always be enough medicine to treat conditions like GBS, CIDP, and MMN.
And how does advocacy relate to plasma?
That's excellent. That's a little bit the elephant in the room, right? Like, why is the advocacy team talking about plasma? So number one is we talked about the fact that the plasma industry is highly regulated, and much of that regulation comes from the government. So we do advocacy on the advocacy team here to lawmakers and regulators so they can understand the plasma users' perspective in the policies they are creating relating to plasma. That can be anything from updates to the safety standards, to how plasma collection centers are operated, to government-run maybe awareness campaigns, and I'll mention that later too. This brings me to an important point that, you know, we know in advocacy that there is strength in numbers. The more people with a common view on a policy issue, the more people who reach out about a certain issue, the more likely regulators and lawmakers are to pay attention and take action on that issue. We are so lucky that we get to collaborate with other patient communities, like communities of other rare disease patients, such as primary immunodeficiencies or hemophilia patient advocacy groups, other rare diseases also who use plasma. So we're one of many doing awareness on this issue, and we often interact through our advocacy programs because of our common view and our common policy interests. And then we expand our collaboration and our efforts together to do awareness campaigns together often.
Awesome. So what is the foundation doing in the plasma world, and what can others do to advocate for plasma donation?
Well, Ellie, you might be the expert on this topic. So why don't you talk a little bit about Project Plasma?
Sure. So Project Plasma is an initiative created for college students who are interested in creating awareness about plasma donation on their campuses. To encourage more donations, we're looking for students to create plasma awareness campaigns at their schools to ask their peers to become plasma donors. So if you're a student looking to host your own campaign, or if you're a college administrator interested in encouraging students on your campus to create one, you can visit our website to register your campaign.
This is so exciting because we know college students are generally looking for volunteer service work or looking to be more involved in their communities, and this is definitely one way to do it. So we're really excited to be raising awareness of this, of people who might take that step and decide to donate or raise awareness with us. And as a reminder, people who donate their plasma in the US are typically compensated for their time, which is a nice little bonus, especially for college students. So aside from Project Plasma, we also participate on many groups who are making awareness campaigns. I mentioned before that we often collaborate with many groups on our policy initiatives, and then that grows into awareness campaigns. But we also lend our expertise and bring the patient perspective into a campaign that's being run at the Department of Health and Human Services, part of the government campaign. So that's very exciting as well. Finally, for people who want to help raise awareness, our social media is a great place to keep up with all of the things that we're doing. It's a great place to find information about plasma from us or from other similar groups. And it's an easy way you can share that information, maybe inspire your own social media network, and hopefully inspire some other people to donate plasma in your honor if you're a patient or know a patient. Also, make sure you subscribe to our emails because that's where we do most of our updates and our outreach, and you can get the firsthand knowledge of what we're doing and how you can get involved in plasma awareness and all of our other great volunteer programs. Ellie, any other questions or anything to add?
No, I think you covered everything. Thank you, Chelsey.
Well, that was a great discussion. That was just scratching the surface of plasma in the world of plasma and IVIG and all of that great stuff. If there's any other questions, please visit our website. You can learn about Project Plasma there. You can learn about IVIG there. And we have many other Ask the Experts on our website, so make sure that you tune in. And thank you so much for joining us today to learn all about plasma.
Thanks for watching.